asking questions because they don't want to go towards the negative, which is excellent. I mean, I love the fact that you guys have that awareness, but it's okay if you're not going to stay there. Going to a negative place is a problem if you go and peg a tent there. If you decide that you're going to live there, that's when it hurts you. Otherwise, you go there with the intention of improving it, then there's no problem, right? So to fear it, where do you go if you fear it? Stella, 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 Stella. No, no. Stella, come back in. Come back in, sir. Come on. Sit here. All right. So, here's the thing. Understand, really, really important, understand the difference between hope and fear. Fear that I'm going to talk about something negative and it's going to create problems. And hope that I'm going to talk about my problem, my question, and I'm going to receive the answer that is going to help me to improve things. That's very different. So, if I could just remind everyone, just for 1 minute, that when people stepped in front of Jesus, dripping their illness, asking him to heal, they told him what the problem was. But they went to him in a mindset of hope. They didn't go there saying, oh, we'll tell Jesus what the problem is and then he's going to hit us with his staff. And he's going to make this illness worse. They went there with hope. And this is a really important thing that I want everyone to understand. Because, and think about all the literally thousands of people who go to Abraham Hicks workshops or Bashar workshops or Eckhart Tolle workshops. They don't go there in the fear that going there and asking questions is going to make things worse. They go there in the hope that going there is going to help. And that's where I want everyone to be when they ask their question. I want everyone to step into a vibration of hope, which is going to open you up and allow the answers that are helpful for you to start flowing in. All right, so with that, I declare this a safe space. All questions are welcome. It is my commitment, my pre-paving, that whoever comes here leaves feeling better, leaves in a better place. That is my pre-paving, that is my intention, and that is what I am giving attention to. So I'm here for you. Whatever questions you have, the floor is open. So who wants to get us started? We're a small group here today, so whoever wants to get us started, just jump right in. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short call.
I'll go. I think I could resonate with, especially in the beginning, not wanting to ask a question because I didn't want to generate or bring up that negative space. Because when you're first learning, I resonate with that. Now I think mine is I'm very aware of, especially after what happened with work, that I spend a lot of time, I think, consciously and subconsciously trying to manage perceptions. So I have this thing that when I ask questions, or I don't know, I guess it does depend on how I'm feeling, because there are times when I can be very open with questions and I'm engaged with curiosity and the learning. There are other times when I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look like I don't know, or that the answer's right there and I can't see it, or especially if I've been working on something for a while and it's still something that I just like can't grasp.
Rose.
So I know that's what I'm aware of that keeps me from asking questions a lot of time.
But you're not alone. All teachers and all coaches are right there with you. We have difficulty asking questions because we are coaches ourselves. So it's like, how come I can help the whole world and not help myself? Right? And this is the reason why I share in my groups. You guys know what's going on in my life, because I do want you to understand I am exactly like you. And I have things that I'm working on as well. And abundance has been a theme in my life. You know, like it has been something that I have been working on. And even though I've come a long way, Rose, I know I'm not where I ought to be. I know that if I was really as open as I want myself to be, that I can create so much more and allow so much more in. So I know that. And that is, abundance is the one thing that I continue to work on, which is why I teach abundance so much, because I'm learning it, right? So, relax and be okay with being a teacher and a coach yourself, because coaches need coaches. We are also human, right? I remember having a very bad reaction many years ago. Oh, it would have been 15 years ago now. Dr. Wayne Dyer had a massive heart attack. And when I heard that he had a massive heart attack, I was in shock. I was like, how can this man create a heart attack? And then I went into all these questions. Should I really be listening to this person who just demonstrated that he must have a lot of negative momentum going on in his life that he could not control? And it resulted in this massive heart attack. And then the answer was, he's just human. Because, see, we can see each other's problems. I can tell a friend what to do, but it's so much harder for me to do. Right? And so, and I've seen that happen through the years. So it took me a while. It didn't happen overnight for me to fix my mindset and my vibration with respect to Dr. Wayne Dyer. It didn't happen overnight. I had to work on it. But there was this little voice inside me that said, you're not looking at the whole picture. Because when I said, how can he teach me anything if he can't do it for himself? The little voice inside me said, no, Zehra, you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Right? And so I worked on it. And I realized that, no, he is an amazing teacher for so many millions of people, but he's human. And sometimes...
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
No, yes, the law of attraction teaching, it remains constant and consistent. But through the teacher is where the variances are, and, you know, where their contrast is, and where they also excel.
Yes.
Right? Where they have a lot of, like, positive momentum in that direction, or wisdom or insight that they utilize in their practice, but they also have their contrast.
Is the problem of being an empath.
Yeah.
Because there are times when we can turn, so empathy can be on either side of the stick, you see. Empathy can be here or it can be here. It can be on the negative end of the stick or the positive end of the stick. And because we are human and we are empaths, we are energy feelers, we don't stay in the same place all the time. So an empathetic teacher at the top of the emotional scale, there's nothing better in the world than that teacher. But an empathetic teacher who is suffering and is not here, then there's nothing worse than that person, because they join the person who needs help right there. They take it on. Right? And then they hurt themselves. And a lot of times that what I see happening is that empathetic teachers, because they are powerful teachers, they will still help the person that they're helping, but they just won't be able to help themselves. So
I think that's where I was at with work.
And I've seen Jennifer go there as well, with her health situation, in the sense that you can be in excruciating pain and not be able to deal with your own physical pain, but someone shows up and they need your help, and you forget your pain and you go help them. And they leave feeling much better, and soon as they leave, your pain returns, and you're like, oh, why can't I do this for myself? Right? But you have to give yourself space and grace. And not do that, because doing that is one of the issues. One of the issues with being a teacher and a healer and a coach is that we beat up on ourselves for not doing a better job for ourselves. Don't do that. Yeah. So I'm here for you. What's going on?
Well, I've had a lot of insights in the last 2 weeks. And I could really see where I was taking on, I've been like just carrying so much for a while. And a decision was made that I felt like it had triggered the sense of threat and the sense of like safety for clients. And it was a complete change from what I had spent 6 months working on. Like, this was a team effort, and then with one decision, it was changed, and it was just like my whole world just kind of split open with that decision. And I really felt it. Like, it triggered something just so deep within me, like just a sense of like the self-worth or a sense of identity. And I tried to communicate it, but it was the more I communicated it, like just the worse it got, right? So it was this, being in this situation where I was feeling triggered like all the time, still doing my work, but I couldn't communicate with my bosses, the people I needed to communicate with the most. And then it turned into this like 2 against 1 thing, right? Like I had irked them. Like they were sick of me going on about this. And so I was starting to feel like tension that way. And I was starting to feel like things being taken away. I was starting to feel like I put up with it for like 7 months that I put up with it. Until like I got a new role, and felt like a little bit of a bait and switch, because once I got into this new role, it wasn't anything like it had been described to me, or I didn't have the flexibility or the leeway that I had had prior. And I'd gotten a performance evaluation for this role. I was in like 2 months, and it was like not meeting expectations across the board. It was like a 1 point something. And I'm bawling, right? Like, because I'm so, like, I love this program. And I'm attached to it. But after that, I went to HR, and I escalated things. And I actually got that taken down, like the performance evaluation. They decided it was unfair. I was in the role for 2 months. But that didn't help with my bosses. If anything, it just kind of made it worse. And there was more decisions being made that was just so counterproductive, or not counterproductive, but they weren't in line with anything else that we had done as a program. And they, like, services were being taken away from clients, and I was advocating for them. And then, so again, there's more momentum building there. It just keeps getting bigger. And then I talked to the VP, who I've always had a good relationship with. Like, I've known her since I first started as a volunteer. And I talked with her and had a really good, what I thought was a really good conversation, even though I was emotional. Had that on a Friday. On a Monday, the VP talked to my bosses, and I was pulled from work. Like, they put me on a medical leave, which they can do because it's mental health, firefighters, police officers. And they didn't explain that to me. So again, I'm feeling very like I didn't know what was going on. And I spent just kind of like 2 months getting back to work, going to my doctor, doing everything that they asked me to do, and taking time to unplug. Because once I was unplugged, I was realizing I hadn't been unplugged in 8 years, right? Like, so I was starting to feel, okay, I needed to be unplugged. I needed distance. I needed space. And so, like, just kind of giving me the runaround on going back. And once I finally got clearance, and they set up a meeting so we could go over next steps, and they let me go that day. And my boss made sure I knew it was her decision. That, so like, the term I'm learning is constructive dismissal. But this is what it was in order to maneuver me out. So I've been deconstructing a lot of the feelings around that, trying not to, well, no, I'm just feeling them right now. I'm not trying to feel things, but I'm also aware of the dialogue in my head about it. What I've come to the conclusion is I remember in the prison break workshop when there was just something I was trying to get at as I talk about the traumas I went through, or a sense or a feeling that I'm looking for on the other side of it that I've never been able to get from others or really have it reflected back to me. And I think the guidance that came to me was that I'm looking at the wrong truth. Like, I'm trying to advocate and establish this truth that upholds the victim, or upholds the hurt, upholds the pain, or the threat, which they're not validating. They're not, that is not their truth. They are not going to admit to it. They're not going to, so like, here I am fighting for this truth, and they're denying it. But what I thought was like, that came to my head was like, well, Rose, but that isn't your truth either. And that I'm not, like, I keep wanting to get to this reflection from another person that sees my truth, but what I'm wanting them to see is not the truth of who I am. So it's not being reflected back to me in the way that I want it to, because it's not my truth.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Girl, that is like a massive bolt of an aha moment.
Yeah. So I've been sitting with that for a bit. Yeah.
See, the thing, oh my goodness, Rose, the thing about all of what you just said, and thank you first of all for opening up and sharing all of that, because it's never easy to share that deep, like that deep a realization. It's never easy. The thing that I've learned, having been there myself in those shoes, is that anytime we look for validation or acknowledgement, anytime, then we are basically painting things in black and white, right or wrong, good and bad. And that's the main issue, because there is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There is no victim. Literally, because all those people who are technically victims are creating their own reality, granted that they don't know that they're creating their own reality, because if they knew, they wouldn't be doing it. Nevertheless, they are doing it. And no one really needs to go to school to learn law of attraction and everything that we learn here together, because nature has all the answers. Children have all the answers until they forget them. And anyone can look at nature and get all the information that they need about how the world functions. Which is the reason why no one really is a victim. Because you just have to look around you for the answers. The answers are there. Right? I mean, just Jennifer posted in the group, we had gone to a lavender farm, and she posted the picture and a video of this really massive bumblebee, and it was really big.
Saw it, yeah.
Bumblebee. And every time I see a bumblebee, I am reminded of the fact that all things are possible, because aerodynamically, engineers and physicists will tell you that the wings of a bumblebee are too small for it to lift off. And then I am reminded of something that I heard from, I believe it was Bob Proctor, but I could be wrong. And he said the only reason airplanes have wings is because humans could not imagine anything that didn't have wings flying. And now science has evolved to a level where rockets don't have wings, and new aircrafts that are being created don't have wings, because we have finally, in our understanding as human beings, reached an understanding that you don't really need wings to fly. But going back to that analogy of the bumblebee, that bumblebee is teaching us that all things are possible. Dolores, I think it was Dolores, who posted a picture of trees in the 365 group, that the roots were in the air. And I looked at that. Yeah. And I looked at that and I was like, well, all things are possible. You know, nature is constantly showing us that there are, in nature, trees that don't observe the rules of all the other trees. Right? So all things are possible, and the minute we just give up this thing of, no, you're not doing the right thing. You promised you would do something, you're not doing it. That makes you wrong, and it makes me right to remind you that you're wrong.
Yes.
Which was your behavior, but nobody likes to be told that they're wrong.
Yes, that's really me. Yeah.
Okay, Tamika. So that's what happened with your bosses. That's how your relationship with your bosses went sour, because it's like a child does not need to be, when a child does something that they know that the parent will not like, it's like a double whammy when they get told, I told you so. They already know. So your bosses already knew, but you're telling them, you became like the nagging parent. And I've been exactly where you are in a corporate setting where I've done exactly what you did and also ran myself out of a job. And the thing is, what that whole experience helped me to realize is it's not my call, it's not my shot, it's not my decision. The people who are making the decision, they know something that I don't know. They have a different, their priorities and my priorities are not matching up. So if I want this job, if I still want to stay in this organization, then I have to abide by whatever they want.
Well, I don't know how I reacted to it so strongly from that place that I couldn't even see that, really. Like, I could catch glimpses of it, and I did get on board for like a little bit, but then like just other stuff kept happening too, and so
but it's like you'll always stand up for the underdog.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And I love that program. I don't regret it. Like, I would do it again. I feel like
Sure.
I don't know if I would, but like,
sure.
So
But
I've also
now-
had to.
Now,
I'll be done in a minute. Okay.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I remember saying at a workshop, because I was so proud of, like, I created this, I did this, I created this. And I've also had to work through, like, just this evidence of not having the job, and it saying, well, no, you didn't, because it got taken away. But I know, like, that's not my truth either. Like, I did create that. I created this pathway out of the program. And I know that there's something better.
Absolutely. So this gap in between is an opportunity for you to realign yourself. You just found out something really important about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that awareness is helpful. It's helpful to know what we need to change in our behavior and the way that we interact with the world, because we want the next thing that's coming in, we want it to be better than the thing that we left behind. Like, I don't want the same relationship, the same man in my life again as the one that I left. And I don't want that job that I left behind. I don't want that again. You know, like, I want better and better and better. You want something better. So the thing is, how do I need to change so that I become a magnet for that better thing? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's where you are just now. Yes, Samuel, it applies to all of us. Because in the heat of the moment, when things are not going well, we forget that we are creating all of that. You see, in the heat of it, we are like, you're doing that to me. You're the one who took that away. You're the one who didn't do what you said you were going to do. And what we forget in that is that no, we are attracting that. We are getting what we are a magnet for.
Yeah.
Right? So being free of that is a very good thing, because there's a limit to how much work we can do to change things. Sometimes, and lately I've been using this analogy over and over again in the daily calls in the 365 group, is that if you burn something, you know, like, there are stages of burning something that you're cooking. If you catch it right in the early stages and you say, oh, I better not leave this, I better stand right here till I'm done, and you keep stirring the pot, it won't burn. Right? But if you are not paying attention, and it goes past a certain point, it's irretrievable, because that burnt taste is going to remain in it. You can't fix it. Right? So then you get to this point where you say, no, it's better I just toss this. I'm going to toss this whole thing. and I'm going to start over. And starting over is going to be a really good thing, because I know what I did wrong and I won't do it again, right? So here you are. What's done is done. Unless you have your own business where you call the shots, you are there to help other people call their shots. Okay?
Yeah.
Until you get to a stage where you don't need that anymore, we are all freedom lovers. This is why people gravitate towards having their own businesses, is because they want to call the shots. And I want everyone to get to that point where they can call the shots for themselves. But in the interim, while you're working your way towards that, then remember that you're not there to call the shots. It's someone else's shot that you're assisting. Right? Yeah. So line yourself up. Yes, many amazing things are waiting to happen for you. I've seen you grow, and I've seen you create a career for yourself without anything, like nothing existed and you created this. Right? So if you did it the one time, now you're going to do it so much faster and better, because now you know a lot more than you did before. Right? Yeah. So what do you need from me in terms of assistance? Is there anything I can help you with?
I think because I'm still reworking the narrative of all of this, like how it happened. Like I know I don't want to keep retelling it. I think as I'm joining the morning calls and I'm listening to those conversations, and I'm recommitting to my daily work, and getting my best routine going again. I think I'm on my way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate the chance back with the 365 group and to reconnect there, because I think attending the calls and being open and asking the questions
helps.
That helps.
Before I let you go, I want to offer something to you with respect to what has happened, and you're still processing it. Here's what I want you to maybe journal, maybe just think about, is that the facts are not going to change. The facts are the facts. But your perspective about the facts is what you layer on top of the facts. And the combination of those two things is what becomes reality, your reality, the way you see it. So in this gap, while you've left that job and you're looking for something new, you've got to change the P. The R is equal to F plus P. Reality is equal to facts plus perspective. Facts will not change, but your perspective sure can. Right? And how you change your perspective is by seeing your role in how you created it and saying, oh, I did that, I can do better. And you're already there. I see you already there. You are there because you have seen how you created it. You just shared that with us, right? So that's done. That's done. Now you have a different perspective. So now just be open, because remember what the bumblebee is showing us. All things are possible. All things are possible. Right? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Amazing. All right. Julia, so good to see you here. And look at you, you're in your car.
Yeah, I almost didn't make it again, but that last week I was like ready to go, and like I just missed it. This week I had to get my kids to jiu-jitsu and we were late, and then anyway. But I got on. I'm here.
We're glad you're here. All right, so Oops. Here we go. Yes, Samuel. So I'm just going to the comments just now. Samuel, yes, there is no rush because you're okay. You are okay. The very first thing is, okay, I don't have to rush into the next relationship, the next job, the next whatever, because I'm okay. I'm okay. I can take the time to do the work inside because everything outside of me is a reflection of what's inside of me. Because I'm the magnet attracting all of that. So when we are in a hurry, what is hurry? Being in a hurry is an indication of lack of time. Well, lack of time is a type of lack. Lack is a vibration that affects everything. So you gotta let that go so that you can have the opposite of it. What's the opposite of it? Abundance. Right? So to get scared, and I was having this conversation with Lillian in the 365 group this morning, to get scared because, there's this date, there's a deadline. Don't get scared of deadlines because the fear makes things worse. Don't be afraid of it. Remember that all things are possible. And so what if this has happened? So what? So what? It doesn't mean anything because look back on your life. You've lived through a lot worse. Right? And there were times in your life when you didn't see how anything could get better, but it did. Because there's always a way. So, fear, soon as you feel fear inside you, oh my God, time's running out. I coach so many girls who think that, the biological clock is ticking. And I have to tell them, children are not all they are advertised to be. Ask all the mothers who are putting theirs up for adoption, please take my 14-year-old. Yeah. All right. So who wants to go next? Anyone have a burning question or even a lukewarm question? Because all questions are welcome. Hi, Alma. Good to see you here. Julie, go ahead if you have a question. Julia?
I always have my biggest challenge. Well, number one, I procrastinate, but number two, it's trying to stop negative thoughts. That's one thing I keep looping, even back to when I first started listening to Abraham Hicks, and I had my first car accident. I'm sure I manifested that. I don't know if you remember the story when she was talking about the windshield.
Yes.
Well, I got a new Subaru, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, but the Subaru is safe. I could get in an accident, and I would be safe. And what did I do 20 days after? That happened. So I'm always scared of, I'm constantly saying in my head, delete, stop, but it's just getting the bad thoughts out of my head. I find that's my worst, my biggest challenge is what I find.
Why?
Don't know, because I'm scared of bad things happening, I guess. And then I'm scared that I'm creating it because I know that I create my reality. So it's just getting that.
Okay.
Getting them to go away. I guess
it's okay. So I'm going to hopefully give you something that's going to be really helpful.
Okay.
And it's going back to intention and attention. Don't pay attention to the opposite of what you intend. So, just now when you were talking about Subaru, even if I get into an accident, I will be safe. Where's your attention?
The accident?
Yes. Your intention is safety, but now you split your vibration because on the one hand is safety, on the other hand is accident. We don't even need to talk about the accident, you see. I love my new Subaru. It is rated to be whatever for safety for Canadian winters. I'm so blessed that I have a Subaru. That's it. Full stop. So we remember that. And you just need to have a few things that you notice. Make an observation about someone else who is being negative, and you will never forget it. Or make an observation of a time when you went negative, and you will never forget it. Use that as your benchmark. We've got to have benchmarks, right? In organizations, we have performance benchmarks, because if you don't have a benchmark, you can't estimate, you can't measure, right? So for me, my benchmark, I'm going to share my benchmark. I mean, people who are in the 365, they know this stuff because they hear it all the time. But my benchmark was hearing my daughter. Now, this is when my daughter was in grade 7 or 8. I have lots of stories about my children because I learned so much from them. My daughter and her best friend, Julia, were preparing for an exam. And the girls were just, like at the dining table, and I'm in the living room. And they're talking to each other about this big exam. And Julia said, "Oh my God, I'm so scared. I hope I don't fail." And right in that moment, I wanted to go and give her a lecture on law of attraction. And I literally had to control myself and say, no, your daughter's going to be really embarrassed. Don't do that. But the thing is, in my head, I'm saying, "Oh, sweetheart, tomorrow the exam is really important. I hope I pass." Not, "I hope I don't fail," because you just activated failure. There's no reason to go there. There's no reason to go towards the opposite of what you want. Talk about what you do want, which is what Abraham keeps telling us over and over again. What is it that you do want? Talk about what you do want. I want to enjoy my Subaru. I want to love driving this car. I love feeling the power of this engine. I love this steering wheel. It feels so good. It feels so easy to turn. Right?
So when you talk about a benchmark in that way, are you saying that when you catch yourself, or you're in the vicinity of those thoughts, that's the memory that comes to your mind that triggers you to switch, like to really switch your self-talk?
Exactly.
So it's not about stopping that negative talk.
No.
It's like catching it before it gets the momentum.
That's right.
And using that experience to shift it.
You got it. Because we are human, we are going to go negative. Going negative is not the problem. Not recognizing that you went negative and not doing anything about the fact that you went negative is the problem, which is why I tell the Costco story all the time. Because in that story, I demonstrated in the moment doing the shift, right? So with Julia, I didn't do the shift. That's the friend that my TED Talk is also about. My daughter went to a concert with Julia and wasn't home on time. So that's what the TED Talk was all about as well. But anyway, I have lots of stories about my kids. But the Costco story, Julia, is I was at Costco and I love the sampling stations that they have. So right where you go to the self-checkout, like the exit kind of, they had 2 kiosks there. And at that day, very unusual, they actually had food there. They never have food there, but they had food there that day. And it was something chicken. And on the other side, of course, was Gillette blades, because that's where Gillette blades always used to be. So anyway, I saw this whole, people gathered there lining up for their samples, and I left my cart at Gillette blades because they're big carts. I didn't want that in that lineup. So I went and I got my sample and I came back. And I remember I had my sample and I had one hand on the handle of the cart. And this woman at Gillette blades looked at me like she like I had done something inappropriate. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, you can see I only have one sample. I didn't take two. That was my first thought, was like, she's looking at me, she's glaring at me because she thinks I've taken more than I should. So I must have looked confused, because then she opened her mouth and she said, do you know what you just did? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I only took one sample. And the next thing she said is, you left your handbag in the cart. Someone could have swiped it. And I looked at her and I very quickly decided I did not wish to engage with her. It was not my job to teach her law of attraction. And I said to her, that does not happen in my world. And I quickly moved away. Before I saw her mouth open, and before she could say anything, I left. So with those words, I said, you keep that belief. That's your belief, not having any of it. And I turned it around right away. That does not happen in my world. And I moved away.
Is that a benchmark for you too?
Yes, that's why I tell that story over and over again. It's a story of how in the moment, stop it right there, refuse to accept it from the other person. I call it a thought virus. It's a virus that spreads silently and it infects us, because I could have said, yes, you're so right. And with those words, I would have accepted that belief and made it my belief. Right? So I said, no, not doing that. You're not important enough to me.
But can you say that? But can you say that and not mean it? Like if you like knew you didn't want to engage, it's not your job to teach her, but so would you say it and not mean it?
Well, I was going there, because she wasn't important. You're right there with me, because that's what I just said to you. She was not important enough for me to dress that up, to package it in a different way. Had that been my mother or my father or someone else, then I would have not been as blunt. But her, I was like, you know what, I'm going to be blunt because I really never want to see you again. I never want to engage with you. Like, you are not important. Right? So I was very blunt with her. That doesn't happen in my world. I moved on, right? But if she was my sister-in-law, for example, then I would have said, it's okay, I trust, nothing goes wrong. It's okay, don't worry about it. Okay, I would have said it differently. And the funny thing is, I came home and I told that story to my sister-in-law. Next time she went to Costco, she lost her handbag. Yes, ma'am. She took
you made her lose her handbag by telling her the story. It's your fault.
She didn't have to take the thought virus. She took the thought virus, right? But the funny thing is, she had her handbag in her shopping cart and the whole cart went missing. Somebody took the cart. But however, she did find it. She did find it, and nothing was missing. I think somebody by mistake took her car. But the funny thing is that she took that thought virus, and it happened to her. Right the next week, 1 week later.
I just wonder how many times that lady repeated that story.
Well, she probably repeats it her way, and I repeat it my way.
That's right.
But yes, these stories, why are they important and they stay alive in my head? I keep these stories alive because they were moments when I really took the knowledge and made it into a skill. Until the knowledge becomes a skill, it remains knowledge. It's useless. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge converted to a skill, that is power. Right? So I have these moments that I will catch myself and then I'll turn things around. I catch myself all the time, still. Even though I've come, like, I was a nut job, really. You guys have no idea how much work I've done on myself. Julia is a real estate agent, so I'm going to tell her a funny real estate story before moving on. So I was walking my dog, and for sale sign went up on the street over from me. And I know everyone in my neighborhood, like I know people that street over, this street over, because I have a dog. We know each other because we walk our dogs and we see all our neighbors. So I'm passing by this house and oh, that's interesting. The house is up for sale. So I knew the old lady who lived there. She just moved into a nursing home and her house was up for sale. And I was like, oh my God, the poor people who are going to buy this house, they have no idea who their neighbors are. And then I stopped myself. I was like, what do you mean? First of all, whoever buys the house will deserve the neighbor. And secondly, just because you don't get along with this person doesn't mean no one else can. So I had to correct myself there. Right? I had to give myself a reason to let that go. Let that thought go. And that's what we have to do. It's not wrong to have a negative thought, Julia. What is wrong is not to address it. And even if you don't address it, don't worry about it, because the universe never gives up on you. The universe keeps whispering in your ear, and the whisper starts becoming louder and louder and louder until it's a scream, because the universe wants you to pay attention. Right? So you will hear it. But stopping the pot from burning is the preferable thing to do. Catch it in the early stages before it burns and becomes irretrievable. I did that to my marriage. I didn't catch it and it became irretrievable, so I had to dump it and move on. Yeah. All right. Who's next? Oh, Nancy, never. Perfect 10? No. I do get along with everyone, except when they don't pick up their socks. But my children helped me to change that. Yeah. My children had. I realized that the reason he didn't pick up his socks was because I was attracting that experience. Samuel, go ahead, sweetheart. Nancy, did you have a question? Okay.
Do you want him to go first, though?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Let's let him go first. We know he's in a different time zone. Go ahead, Samuel. Samuel.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Okay, hang on. I'm turning on my
Your camera?
video.
Did you just wake up?
Hang on. What the hell? Where the hell is? Hang on, be patient. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is my video?
There we go. We can see you. We can see you. We can hear you.
Okay, hi from B. Okay, so my question is, okay, I just had this realization of actually quite a big mistake I was actually making in my manifesting practice. So it's actually like I realized I've actually been manifesting to get or manifesting rather than for the feeling. So I was wondering if you could actually like
Can you say that
elaborate more on
again?
that.
You cut out there. I didn't get all of what you said. Say that again.
Okay, basically the mistake of doing the work in order to like manifest things rather than for the feeling of it.
Yes.
Because I realized that if I like try to like shift my emotion in order to manifest something, then it actually creates attachment. Whereas if I do it purely in order to feel good, I mean, okay, maybe not 100% because I can't get there yet, but the more I actually like have this intention, the easier it actually is. And this applies like doubly or triply as so to like big topics where we have a lot of attachment. So actually I feel like this is a very like very important thing. It probably ranks like all the way up there as like one of the
Samuel, yes, this is why I keep saying,
like I am like
absolutely, you're so right.
Can you share more on this?
I totally get it. This is why in the Unlimited Workbook, where, you know, the page that says, I think it's page 11. I think I know the workbook by heart by now. Yeah, it is page 11. So, page 11 is an intention. And what I say to people is, forget about your goals when you're doing the workout. Just do the work without asking for anything in return. Because when you do the work,
it's like you don't do it to change the world, or you do it to change yourself. If you sort of get what I mean.
So let me tell you something. This is how I benchmark this learning. Okay. You know how medicines, with every medication they say this is a side effect of this medication. Okay? So one day I told myself, good things happening are a side effect of feeling good. They are the byproduct of being high on the emotional scale. They are not the reason. They are the byproduct. They are not the main deal, because anything you want, Abraham says this over and over again, the reason you want anything is because you think when you have it, you will feel good.
Yeah.
But when you feel
So
good,
why not just feel good?
Exactly. So if you feel good first, everything that you want will land in your lap. So the goal is not to get the job. The goal is not to get the boyfriend, girlfriend, house, car, whatever it is that you want. The goal is to feel good. And I still remember the day and the moment in time when I had this aha moment that, oh, all my goals are, like, I don't need any of these goals. My goal is to feel good. So anytime my thoughts go towards a goal, I'm like, stop. Don't need to think about it. Because the universe knows what I want without my verbal expression of it. I don't even need to put it into words, because the universe already knows. Because the universe is listening to all my thoughts. Even the thoughts that I think when I go off on autopilot and I don't know what I was thinking, the universe knows all those thoughts. So I don't have to verbalize what I want. Ever.
Yeah.
And when I had this realization, Samuel, my life became so much easier. You know why? My life became easier because I stopped planning. I used to be like, A-type personality, gotta have control over everything and gotta plan everything out. I didn't need to plan anymore. I didn't need to control every facet of what was going on. Because, well, why do I need to control it? All I need to control is how I'm feeling. I want to feel good. That's it. That's why one of the affirmations in the 365 program is letting go is the way to letting in. When you let go completely all your goals will never go away because the universe knows what you desire. Letting go, thinking about your goals will allow them to come in. My thoughts are the problem. My thoughts are what is keeping me from the things I want. So I just need to stop thinking about my life.
And if you think about your goals, only think, how do I put it? Only think about them from a high-flying place.
No, my
You
love.
don't even need to think.
No, my love.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Really fun that I realized. What I realized, my love, is that when I am really high-flying, I don't think about...
Even...
No.
Okay,
If
what if it feels good just to think about the goal? Like, okay, if it actually like genuinely feels good, you are doing it for the feeling good.
You
and
are
not
doing it
the...
for the feeling. Those are the operative words there. You are doing it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I mean like, sorry?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, because here's the thing. People con themselves into thinking that I must be feeling good, so it's okay to think about these things. But the problem with that mode of thinking is if you were really high on the emotional scale, the thing that you're thinking about would already have happened. So you must not be there. So this is the thing that happens when you're really high on the emotional scale. You don't think about your goals because they're happening as you're thinking about them. So nothing remains a goal because it's happening as you're thinking about it.
Okay. So like to give an example. So like let's say like for instance, let's say like if I want a girlfriend, for example, so if I just imagine like hugging an imaginary girlfriend and it actually feels good to do so, would that still be like attachment or whatever?
If you are doing that, if you are creating that visualization like it's like watching a movie and not to make something happen, then go ahead. Yeah. So those are the visualizations. When we were kids, we used to play cops and robbers, and we used to play house, and I used to play being an explorer and being Superman. I wasn't really wanting to manifest being Superman. It was just fun. It was a game. So if you are doing that visualization purely because it's fun to do, then go ahead. But if you are doing it because you're saying, listen, if you're doing the visualization saying, oh, I'm telling the universe what I want, universe, this is what I want, that's attachment to the outcome, and it slows things down. This is why visualization doesn't work for most people.
Yeah, anyway, it's not like 100% pure. If I do it, there's at least a small element of like this attachment in it. So maybe it's better just not to think about it.
Yeah, so when the attachment comes up, just tell yourself, no, I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun. This is just fun. So the thing is, long time ago, for most of us, at some time in our process of growing up, dreams became goals. And that is the problem. Dreams should just be dreams, just for the fun of it. Why is it that today you are not dreaming of cops and robbers? Right?
Because it's not a goal Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Anytime you are creating a visualization that is an actual goal, you're adding attachment to the outcome, because you would never even think of doing that kind of a visualization if you really were high on the emotional scale. It would not occur to you. You would just be so busy enjoying all the wonderful things that are happening in your life that you would never go there. Okay? So have fun in your imagination, because our imagination was the internal entertainment channel that was provided to us. By all means, but then your imagination should go towards things that are not really goals. Think about all the what you used to, like I remember what I used to dream about when I was a child. I was playing with Casper the Ghost. I was going to China, and I was robbing ancient temples of gold, and I was like doing all those things. It was just fun to do. I was just like a movie maker, making movies just to have fun.
Yeah, it's like all the kids, they watch Star Wars and then they pretend they are like swinging
Exactly.
their lightsabers and like
Exactly.
It's exactly
That's just fun. It's just fun.
yeah.
So the issue is when you take a goal and you start visualizing it, now you're adding attachment to the outcome. So I know you haven't got it yet because the Kindle version hasn't published, but in the toolkit is a whole section on visualization. The toolkit is actually, I have noticed that we misuse the tools. The tools are not bad or wrong to use, but we misuse them. And that's why I created this workbook. You'll have it next week. The Kindle version will be out next week.
Okay, great. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks.
You're welcome, sweetheart. All right, Nancy.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fantastic.
I have a share and a question. So last week, I was going over certain accounts, and Raj, my new manager, said highlight in yellow because he still wants to handle it till he sees I know what I'm doing, because they have issues. There's like 10 accounts with issues, he said. And then we're discussing accounts on my Excel spreadsheet. He's like, you can handle that. You can handle that. You know what you're doing now, so you can handle these.
Yeah, that's excellent. Look at how far you've come in just a week. Good job, you. You know your stuff. Yeah.
So my question is, and it's probably because I'm noticing it too much, and something I asked in the past, or I think I did, I'm trying not to pay attention, but my right eye keeps doing the twitchy thing, including when I was looking at him, and he didn't say anything. Don't know why. It's usually my left side that did it before, not the right.
I remember
so
it.
It means something. They don't know what. It's the wrong side. It shouldn't happen. And then the whole other thing is, for whatever reason, and maybe it's too much on my mind that's overthinking at night, I keep getting up for no reason at all. Just keep waking up. And I'm still like, I keep my phone in the kitchen.
You prepave.
Go to the kitchen.
Is prepaving the last thing? Yeah. So your head's too busy. Your head's too busy. You're overworking it. Overthinking.
Even though, because I've been trying to go to bed, like get ready for bed, like an hour ahead of time, to like hopefully clear thoughts, but I guess not. Am I doing something wrong?
No, you're never doing anything wrong. It's not wrong or right, Nancy. You know that, right? Let me feel into you. You're going to laugh when I tell you this. You're already laughing, but you're going to laugh more when I tell you this. Your desire to please, There you go. See? You're laughing already. Your desire to please your employers, your new employers, has you going around in circles.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Relax.
I thought I was.
No, you're not relaxed. You are super conscious of wanting to do better than your best to make them happy.
But I just started, so.
You are doing your best. You don't need to overthink it. You are pre-paving it. You are doing your absolute best. What's the point of thinking about work until you actually get to work?
I don't know. It's a prepay more.
But that's the issue. You're not turning it off. When you put the lid down on your laptop, Samuel, I see your comment. When you close your laptop for the day, or you come back, if it's a day that you're going into the city and you come back home, that's it. You don't need to think about work after that. That's what you're not doing.
That's true.
That is the issue.
Our laptop is at work and I'm here, so.
Just relax. It's all good. So you must stop working and then think about something else.
I did work over the weekend. In Excel, I wanted to neatify. It wasn't good enough.
See, there you go. That's exactly what I mean. What is the point of thinking? Can you really answer that question on behalf of Raj? What is Raj thinking just now? Is he thinking about Nancy?
Yes.
No. Trust me, you're not important enough. He's got other things to think about, and so do you.
Yeah.
Okay?
I was thinking about bringing my laptop here, and I left it at work for the day. Because I'll be there tomorrow and Thursday.
So that's a good thing. But bringing the laptop home has nothing to do with turning your head off. It's your head that you need to turn off. Did you leave that in the office as well? No. That's the issue.
Is that also the eyeball thingy?
It's just because you're trying so hard. You're stressed.
I don't know, Frank.
Okay? Okay. You good?
Pre-paving.
Pre-paving, and just when your thoughts go to words thinking about your new job, stop and tell yourself, I don't have to think about this until I am actually in the office.
I'm commuting.
Okay? Not even on your commute. You don't have to think about it on your commute. Commuting time is time for appreciation. Okay? It's not time to think about work. You start thinking about work when you enter the office. Okay? You need to calm down. Calm down. Okay? You're going to be fine. You're doing wonderful.
Yeah.
You're welcome, sweetheart. All right. Alma, did you have a question? You're muted. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat. We'll pick it up from there, or you can unmute yourself. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to Andrea because I do know Andrea has a question. Hi, Andrea. Good to see you.
Hi, I'm gonna make it super quick because my husband's waiting for me to eat dinner.
Okay.
So yeah, my question was, and I think I'm doing the right things, and I think I know, but just if there's anything to add. So as I mentioned, I have this trip booked, and it's in a couple of weeks. I've been really, yes, dealing with nervousness, but also really like winning, like the thinking it might be fun, it will be fun, and I've traveled before, and it'll be fine, and and all that. And then yesterday, my mom's aide said that they were all wearing masks because there's a big COVID outbreak, and I just felt my body just sink, and I thought that sinking is me going down the scale, and I got right on it, and I did a visualization meditation, and I did so many things. I was so proud of myself, and I just listened to Abraham videos, your videos, like binged videos. Did something else, did a 4-step process, just really went for it. And I feel better. I felt better pretty quickly, and I feel better. And I'm telling myself, I'll wait a couple of weeks. I'll see if Source guides me to not go, if I'm guided to keep the flight. But it's just if there's anything else that you can suggest that I could do or stop doing to really make this a positive trip experience.
So our understanding changes things, and I know that you've done a lot of work in a very short space of time, and you've completely shifted your mindset. I don't remember if I shared with you or not, but my brother has 5 children.
Yes, you did tell me that, and they didn't get it.
He was the only one in the family who got COVID.
Yeah.
They didn't leave home. He didn't leave home. He was in the home with his wife and 5 children. Nobody got COVID except him. COVID is a fear-seeking virus. Wherever there is fear, COVID will arrive.
And even though I know people who aren't afraid of COVID, but maybe they're afraid of other things.
Fear-seeking. I didn't say fear of COVID.
Damn. Okay.
Okay?
So I can't be fearful now about being fearful, because that's the old game too.
But there really is no need for you to be afraid because you know better now. So don't buy into the fear of what's going on in the world. Don't buy into what's going on where your mother is. Your being high on the emotional scale when you visit with her will be your biggest gift to her.
Yeah, and to myself. So my question is, if I have automatic fears come up, I think I know the answer. If I have automatic fears come up, like just butterflies, and then I do my work to come back down, to go back up, is that enough? Like if I have fears, because there's a lot of years here that I didn't have you know what I mean?
While you are working on changing your beliefs, you should do what your beliefs are telling you to do to keep yourself feeling confident. So if your beliefs say you should wear a mask, you should wear a mask. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. If your belief, if the little voice inside says, okay, go wash your hands right away. Okay?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I guess my question is more like, if I have because I still have a mind and I've been go up and down the scale like we all do. I'm so grateful you've been reminding me so much lately. Like we all go up and down. It's okay. I guess my fear or question is, if I go down the scale because I'm human and still dealing with my whole life, and I work to go up, is it enough to keep me? Am I doing enough to keep me well, even though I still go down?
But here's the thing. Release the fear of being sick.
And the fear of the fear.
Yes. Don't do that to yourself. No one can stay high on the emotional scale, not even Esther. Because
She uses
sorry?
Oh, sorry. She uses that analogy of like when you let something float to the surface,
Mm-hmm.
and isn't it nice? It's floating to the surface, but no, we reach up and we
We
pull
pull
it
it
back
down.
down, right? We find something that puts that ball back down under the water, so we find that release and it goes up, but then we can kind of have that mechanism where we grab onto a lower emotion and we hold that ball down under the water.
Right.
So the thing is, Andrea, easiest thing for you to do is to go to neutral. Remember how we talked about finding neutral? Just go to neutral.
Mindfulness.
Just go to neutral and remind yourself that fear is there to help you. It's not there to harm you. Fear is a helpful emotion. It tells you what you're not ready for. So then we do fear. So we thank the fear. Thank you, fear, for making me understand I'm not ready for this. What do I need to do? And then you ask the question, what is it that I need to do to soothe this fear? Sometimes the answer that will come up is going to be, all right, just do a quick 4-step process. Sometimes the answer will be, okay, just grab something to go to neutral. Sometimes the answer will be, just close your eyes and breathe. The answer will be different based on where you are and what you need, but trust that guidance that will tell you what it is that you need to do then. And sometimes the answer will be, run as fast as you can. Get out of here. If you've heard Abraham enough, then you will remember the story of Jerry when he went fly fishing one day, and there was this spot that he loved going to, and he went to that spot and he suddenly had the heebie-jeebies, and he had the instinct to run. Something inside him said, you gotta get away from here. And then the next day in the newspaper was the news of somebody being murdered exactly in that spot.
Yeah.
Right? So he listened to his guidance. His guidance said, run. He ran. Sometimes that's what your guidance will tell you to do.
Yeah, and I'll wait a few weeks. If my guidance tells me to cancel, I will cancel. And if it tells me to go, I'll go. I guess my main thing is I've had so much momentum on health topics. I've had so many years of momentum, of fear, of injury and COVID and health and all the crap that I went through. And I want to believe, I guess this could be a new belief right here as we speak, that I'm doing enough to shift that momentum.
Andrea, can I tell
Yes.
you something?
Please, as long as it's nice.
You're not just doing enough, you're doing too much.
Good.
You are trying too hard.
Yeah.
When we are trying too hard, that is a sign of fear. Trying too hard is a sign of fear. Okay? I don't need to try hard. I need to do the work, but I don't need to try hard because I have moment-to-moment guidance. Source is not forsaking me at any time. So I don't have to try so hard. I am doing fine.
Okay, I guess I just was getting scared of the scared.
But
like Abraham was saying, you want to like suck it back up and get that whole.
But that's exactly what I want you to change right here, right now, is that fear is a helpful emotion. Fear is not your enemy. You don't have to crush it and beat it to death. Fear is a helpful emotion. Okay? It's like the red light. Remember the analogy that I used maybe a week or so ago in the 365? What would happen if we didn't have red lights? I mean, when there's a red light, you stop. You don't ignore the red light. The red light is a good thing. We want green lights, but when we see a red light, we stop. That's what fear is. Fear is the red light. Yes, we don't want fear. We want all green lights. But when the red light appears, we stop. So the red light is not a bad thing. It is helpful. It is protecting you. And you say thank you to the fear for letting you know that you got to stop and breathe and ask your guidance what your next step is.
Okay, thank you.
You are so welcome. You're going to be fine. And I just want to point out one little thing. I know your husband wants you now, but here's one thing. So when you say, I'm going to check a couple of weeks later whether I want to cancel or go, where is your attention and where is your intention? What is your intention? What is your attention?
That's my intention, is to give myself permission to have Source direct me at that point. Like, more information will be revealed that I don't have now. But my attention is maybe like it not going well or something.
Exactly. You got it.
So maybe better to say, I'm planning on going. I have my tickets. It's going to be a wonderful trip.
You don't even need to think about the trip until a day before the trip.
So I'm packing.
Why even
That's good.
raise it as a question? I booked it. Obviously, I want to go. That's why I booked it. And now it's booked, and, I'm just going to leave it alone until it's time to go.
But I wasn't thinking about it until the home health aide said we're all wearing masks because there's a surge in our town. I was just like,
So
shit,
that's-
did I attract that? Okay. Okay.
Trying too hard.
I know. Okay. He's like,
Okay.
I'm eating in 1 minute. I'm eating in 2 minutes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so grateful I could pop
You're
on.
welcome.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right. So Elma says, never done this on my phone. Couldn't unmute. Interesting that your attraction was a woman that you disagreed with, and it seems by your story that you ignored her as a rude person. Not at all. I didn't think she was rude. I just didn't want to accept her belief. I didn't think she was rude. I thought that I was doing something that she was not pleased with. And I didn't know what I was doing that she was not pleased with. So that part of my intuition was correct. She was not happy with me. But she was not rude to me. I never thought she was rude. She was just going in accordance with her beliefs by telling me what she believed. If it was her and it was her handbag, she wouldn't have left it in the cart. I didn't treat her well. It's not my job to treat people well. It's their job to feel well. I don't have to protect them, and I don't have to make anyone feel better than whatever their perspective is. So she could have just disregarded me. I said to her, that doesn't happen in my world, and I walked away. And she could have said, what a rude person, and then gone on her way. Doesn't matter. I don't care what she thinks of me. And that's the issue. If she was important, so Abraham always uses this analogy to demonstrate this point, Alma, and you say you've been listening to Abraham for 10 years. I've been listening to them way longer than that, but you would have heard this analogy. Abraham says, if somebody comes and somebody calls you and says, I will never call you again, you'll say, okay, and you'll hang up. But if your loved one calls you, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever calls you and says, I will never call you again, you feel like, oh my God. And that's the difference. She didn't matter enough for me to stand there and do anything about making her feel better. I didn't care, and I still don't care. Doesn't matter. If she took offense, that's her problem. That means that she is not connected, because when you're connected, you don't take anyone seriously. See, a lot of times people are unhappy with me, rude to me. My parents have spanked me, and I've said to myself, they're spanking me because they really love me. See? It's your perspective. So if somebody is rude, the spin you put on it is what matters. We can't sort it out, Alma. Texting and messaging is very limited, so I'm just going to leave it there until I can actually have a conversation with you. It's all good. It's all clarifying. It's all helping us to understand things better. All right. So I went around and got everyone. But if anyone has a follow-up question, I'm more than happy. So does anyone have a question before we close the call?
Tell me more about this book, because I just bought it. Your new book.
Oh, this book, the Manifesting Toolkit.
Yeah, I just ordered.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just ordered it. It's coming on Saturday.
Oh, yay! Thank you. Okay, so the Manifesting Toolkit is written because I find people don't really understand how to use any of the tools. People are misusing visualization and vision boards. They're just not doing them the way they ought to be done. So instead of the tool helping, the tool is having the opposite effect. Because, at least I know this to be a fact, because I've spent so many years in corporate environment, 30 years in the corporate environment, is that there is no organization that does not have trainers come in and they all use visualization. But how many people actually manifest what they visualize? Doesn't happen. And thank you, Nancy. I see your comment. Thank you. And the reason it doesn't happen is because people are not using the tools properly. So that's what this book does, is it's an effort to help people understand how to use the tools. And so in the book, I was guided to include a section that says, what does this tool help us with? When to use this tool? And then a summary of the tool, and then an in-depth discussion about the tool. So one of the things is the hype on tools, right? So a lot of people, and I was having this discussion with Samuel the other day, scripting and visualization are for two different types of people. Visualization is for people who are visual. Scripting is visualization written out. It's for people who are auditory. So for someone who is visual, to try and do scripting is going to be really hard. And for someone who is auditory, to do visualization is going to be like, I can't visualize. Why can't I visualize? There's something wrong with me. I can never do a visualization. No, sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just auditory. So don't visualize. It's not the right tool for you. So that's what, so the whole premise of the workbook is to help people to pick the right tools to use and know when to use them. So Samuel says, if visualization worked, all the guys in the world would be bringing all the pretty women they know all the time. I would have 10,000 houses by now, Samuel. Yeah, we would all have. So we are creating all those things, in the non-physical realm. And that's the other thing, is just understanding that when we think about something, our thoughts are non-physical energy. So with our thoughts, we are creating a non-physical version of the thing that we want. But just like water, when water evaporates, you can't see water. It's non-physical. Where did the water go? It didn't go away. It's there. It's non-physical. Aww, my babies are not in the room. I put them outside the room because they climb on my desk. So you see, the thing to understand is water condenses and then turns back into water. It didn't go away, it just changed form. So we create things with our thought energy in the non-physical realm. And then just like water vapor condensing, manifesting is the process of condensing the thoughts to make them matter. That's all there is to it. It's all there. The 10,000 women that Samuel has dreamt about, they're all in the vortex. Right? So we just need, manifesting is the process of making that non-physical become physical. But I've learned not to get hung up over that, because that's attachment to the outcome. And if you're attached to the outcome, then you will not manifest the outcome. So just relax and let it go. Oh my goodness, he is so black.
Yes, he's got a little white patch right here. This is my baby.
It's beautiful, gorgeous.
I get the best cuddles from him.
Oh. All right. So, good discussion, you guys. Thank you for all your questions.
Thank you.
Any last words? And what are you guys taking away? Yes, that is something. Let's solidify the learning. Nancy, what are you taking away today?
Need to pre-pave everything and stop thinking about work somehow.
Perfect. Awesome. Samuel, what are you taking away? Samuel's on his way to work. Okay. All right. Julia, what are you taking away today?
To not pay attention to negative things and focus on the good part of my thought.
Yeah. Just put a full stop right there. Right? No need to compare with the other side. Awesome. Rose.
But it's okay and good to ask questions, and that I have an opportunity right now to integrate what I have learned from these past experiences, and I can do again what I did before, and I know there's something better.
So I want Nancy, sweetheart, I am telling you, whatever, I can't pronounce it. You have been voluntold to help Rose. Nancy was in the same situation as you, Rose, and manifested a job within 33 days. She put that post in the group. So I'm going to ask her to be your coach, to help you. So I want the two of you to connect with each other and help each other. You, Rose, are going to help her to make sure she doesn't overthink it. And Nancy, you're going to help Rose find her next step.
Okay.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love all the relationships we have. All right. All right, Alma, I know you can't unmute yourself, but I'm so happy that you're here. And thank you so much for still managing to participate in the comments. And I'm going to close the call now. Bye, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Recording.